What's going on, everybody? It's your boy C-Zar, and we are talking about XCN OnyxCoin today. Hit that like button, you guys. Subscribe if you want to see more content like this, and let's get into it. I want to start off this video by looking at the ribbon, MA exponential ribbon here. If we're looking at this on a daily time frame, you can see that we're doing something very similar here as to what we did last time. Now, I will say, generally speaking, whenever you consolidate in the ribbon like this, you oftentimes don't go higher until you find a low below the ribbon. We haven't had that yet. Doesn't mean that we have to have one. I think if we were to have one, we would have by now, but just throwing it on the radar, there is a possibility XCN could still go below, like down to 1.7 cents, 1.8 cents, even down to 1.5 cents. Again, I don't expect that to happen, but in case it does, that's actually a really good area to find support, and it would look really good. It wouldn't be bad, and as soon as it happens, it would come back. You know what I mean? So I don't expect that to happen, right? I bought more XCN recently because I think that it's going to go up, actually, not because it's going to go down, but I'm just making you aware of that, okay? Just by the way that I analyze using these ribbons here. But aside from that little move down here, it's a pretty similar range of consolidation. You consolidated here, and your ribbon was contracting. As you found your lows, as you started to close above the yellow line, you found support above the yellow line like this, your ribbon stopped contracting and started to expand, and that's what got you set up for your next move up, okay? As of now, we are still contracting. We are below the yellow line, and the yellow line's at about 2.38 cents, okay? And as each day goes on, if we close here, that yellow line will continue to come down. This ribbon will continue to contract more and more. When it gets contracted, think of it like a spring, right? You're very, very wound up, very contracted, and then once that pressure releases, you will just explode, right? You'll explode out, and hopefully to the upside. I think we're all safe in assuming that it'll be to the upside. On that note, actually, I want to go through. I don't know if anybody's read the white paper. Everybody should read the white paper. I read the original white paper for XCN. I was trying to find it last night, but I couldn't. I'm sure it's easy. I didn't look that hard, but I read the new white paper that they released at the beginning of this month. It's taken me a long time, but man, I had a lot going on. I wasn't that impressed with it, right? Like they got rid of in the white paper. I couldn't find anything on the tokenomics. I still found the tokenomics. I used other means to find the tokenomics, but they're a lot more vague on the tokenomics, which I did not appreciate. That doesn't mean that I think that they're doing anything like shady or anything like that, but I want full transparency. I think we all do whenever it comes to tokenomics. You know, I think that there are some things that are interesting that they brought up, and that there are some updates that are, I think, essential. Whenever we talk about fundamental values in XCN, right? But a lot of that white paper, you guys, it was just a circle jerk. They were just saying the same thing over and over again. It's like you read one white paper, you've read them all, right? And so I'm just saying that not to hate on XCN. I like XCN. It's my biggest bag, but I'm saying that because if any of you are reading the white paper and this is your first crypto cycle, I remember what it's like to fall in love with the project. I remember what it's like to read my first white paper. You read it and you think it's going to be the best thing since sliced bread, because when they make a white paper, it's a promotional piece to you, the investor, right? It's an ad for you, the investor. So of course they're going to make it sound like it's the best thing in the world. Like this is the solution to everything. And maybe it is. But what every white paper is, and what I want you guys to understand in case there's anybody out there who's cheesing on the white paper, they're all promises. They're all the same. They're just a bunch of promises. XCN, what it says in its white paper is not fact. It's what they want to be fact. And if it becomes fact, XCN's going to do really well. If it becomes slightly fact, if some of the things they set out to do get accomplished, it's going to do really well. If everything they promise doesn't happen and there's no progress being made to it, it's a coin that's here for one cycle and then it's gone. But I don't think it is. I don't think it's here for one cycle and then it's gone, because it came out at the very end of the last bull cycle. It sustained a very rough, probably a more rough bear cycle than most coins, and it's having so far a more phenomenal bull cycle than most coins too. So, you know, again, I wasn't too impressed with the white paper. I don't even know why they redid it. There were a couple things that I noticed that were updates, you know, and they included the burn and stuff like that, but it seemed a lot more like a kind of copy paste advertisement of a white paper than it did like informative, right? You read it and you're reading the same thing over and over and over again. If you haven't read the white paper, read the first paragraph and you'll probably have read the whole thing. And not exactly, but it's a big circle jerk is what it is. let's talk about some analysis now. Let's do some technical analysis. Okay, getting over that. Again, that's not me hating on XCN, right? I like XCN. It's my biggest bag. I think it's going to do phenomenal. This is probably going to be one of the top performers of the cycle. Even from here on out, it's going to outperform the average coin. But I was letting you guys know my thoughts because I know some people were curious on my thoughts on the white paper, and I'm not trying to dog it. I don't think that it's a bad white paper. I just, you know, some people were excited about it. Some people said it was really good, a good update, and I'm reading it and I'm like, what the hell, like it's like when somebody hypes up a movie and then you watch the movie and it's like it's decent, right? It's a decent white paper, but it's not what all the hype led me up to believe. I don't know if that makes any sense. And the main reason I'm talking about it now is not to dog XCM, but is because you, the new investor, when you read these things and you read these promises that they have, you take it as if it's some kind of scientific fact. Right? Because you don't know any better, because you're new, and they know that you don't know any better, so they use these very strong words, but it's only promises. When you read every white paper and you see whatever innovative technology breakthroughs that they have, and you understand it's not actually fact, it's just a promise to hopefully achieve one day, you will be a better investor as a result, right? And then you'll read every white paper, every single white paper you read, you're going to be like, oh, this is just the same thing over and over and over. They're all the same. They're all just a bunch of promises. The ones that fulfill their promises, they don't even have to fulfill all of them. They just fulfill some of them. They're the ones that maintain relevance. The ones that don't, they're obviously they don't maintain relevance. Anyways, now that I've repeated myself a couple times here, going off of the daily, looks really good. Looks really good. We're waiting for a breakout. I think that anytime we close above, what was it, 2.38 cents, 2.318 cents, let's just close above 2.4 cents on any given day and maintain that, and that would get me excited that we're ready to break out. Again, closing above 2.4 cents doesn't mean we're breaking out immediately. It could, but last time when we got above the yellow line, it did take us a little while before we actually exploded out, right? I'm not saying it's going to do that here. I don't think that it would take us a little while and then explode out, but I wouldn't be surprised if we came up, found resistance here, we come back down, the yellow line moves up because we moved up too, it finds support on the yellow line, we kind of meander our way, and again, I don't think it's going to be so much like this. I think it'll be more of a volatile kind of upswing to this area, and then once we get to the top, once we see prices closing above 4 cents, once we see prices closing above 5 cents or 4.5 cents, stuff like that, that's probably when we'll be in that breakout mode where we'll see a more pronounced move, stuff like that. That's what I'm assuming is going to happen. Okay, at this rate though, at this pace, it could be, I mean, from here it was December 28th until December or probably January 14th that we started moving up. So I don't think it'll be a half month before we break out of these highs. So that just doesn't make sense to me. But if we were to do this the same way, as soon as we get up here, we probably have about a half month to go until we start breaking out again, which would put us in like the middle of March. That wouldn't be the middle. It would be, if we're at halfway through February now, it would be the beginning of March, but still. Timing is not the easiest. I don't expect us to do this. I'm just saying if we were to do this, what that would look like. That's all I'm saying. But I don't think it's going to be like that. I actually think that we're going to meticulously work our way up, and then sometime by the end of this month, if not by the first week of March, we will be at new all-time highs. And you guys know where the path is, right? We're going up to prices that are likely above 10 cents, potentially as high as 25 cents. I made a little video talking about the 14-cent possibility and why it's an area that doesn't make sense from a price perspective necessarily, this 14-cent area, but there's some subtleties. There's a little bit of resistance here, a little bit of support here, and then just also the rationale between investors down here who invested, who might not have sold, right? And not all of them. Anybody who bought down here, I would bet a good bit of them took profits already on the way up. So not all of them are going to attain a 100x, but once you hit that 14-cent mark, once you break above 10 cents and you get the closer you get to that 20-cent area, the more people that invested down here that haven't sold, like me, the more of us get close to that 100x mile marker. And 100x mile marker, even for the degenerate types, is a satiating target to take profits. So that's why I think, you know, we've been considering it's either 10 cents or we're going to new all-time highs, right? That's how I've been promoting it over the past like couple weeks. But I think it is important to also consider that we could stop below there. Of course, we could stop below there, and I feel like I talk about that, but I'm really giving that some consideration because to me it makes sense, right? That last night's video, I meant that what I said, and I think it's something that we should address every single time we talk about the new highs coming up. Whenever we break out here, we very well could not go to new all-time highs. We very well could stop around 14 cents. It's very possible. We don't even have to go to 14 cents. Nothing's promised. We could stop around 10 cents, you guys, just below 10 cents. There are targets there too. But if we don't stop at either of those areas, it's 20 cents or bust, y'all. 20 cents, 25 cents, 27 cents even comes on the table. Your weekly RSI, or not RSI, sorry, your weekly ribbon has crossed bullish with this candle here. You've continued to cross bullish. If we were on the daily ribbon to go below this line, the red line here, that might set us up for a pullback to sorry, for a pullback down to this yellow line here. As the weeks go on, this yellow line will continue to go. So, if next week or the week after we had that drop down, we might find support right at about 1.5 cents, bouncing right off the weekly ribbon. It's a pretty bullish thing. So again, just not saying that I expect us to go down there, but if it happens, don't worry, fret not. It's probably going to be okay. Monthly time frame, we don't really have a lot going on for us. We are above the ribbon, which is nice. The ribbon's starting to point upwards, but not enough data, not enough conclusiveness to go off of that. So let's refresh the page now and just do some regular technical analysis and end this video, okay? I hope I didn't lose too many of you with that introduction. I know that I was talking about the white paper, and a lot of people, I wouldn't be surprised if most of you probably haven't even read the white paper. I know how crypto people are, but it's boring, but I think it's important. I think every single investment, and I don't just think, I live by this. Every investment that I make, before I invest in it, I don't care if I look at the charts and I'm like, this thing's going to do a 20x right now. I can see it in the charts, it's going to happen, and I could be right. I'm not going to invest in it until I read the white paper, until I understand, until I can tell you what it is that this coin is planning to do, or until I can tell a stranger what it is. I don't invest in it. And I think that's a safe practice, because again, if you're buying something because you only see the upside, that's all you see, then, and you have no fundamental clue as to what the fundamental values are, what happens if you only see the upside but then it retraces and it goes back to an area that makes sense to find support, and then it rips from there? You know what I mean? You're going to have less conviction to hold on this slight retracement for the inevitable pump, because all you saw was the sky. I want us to not be blindsided by stuff like that, okay? Looking from a high to a low here, we've gone to the 2618 for resistance, come back to the 200 for support. Very, very bullish behavior. Okay, normally when you find resistance at the 2618, you can go all the way down to the 1618, which is at 1.1 cents. You're not even close to that. You didn't even hit the 1886 area at 1.64 cents. Again, illuminating that we could go lower. It's possible, and it would still be fine. But this is a very bullish phase of support that you're finding here, and where you found support here, very in line with that point of resistance. You literally tipped it. I'll delete the fib so it's more obvious. You literally tipped it for support. You double tipped it. You double tapped it, man. You had a double bottom down here, but you quite literally tipped it on this week. That is incredibly bullish to me. It's absolutely incredibly bullish. We throw that fib back on there. It tells me that likely we will see targets that are probably around 10 cents. If not, I mean, the next target area on the fibs are 21 to 27 cents. And it's extremely uncommon when you break through the 3113. It's extremely uncommon to stop anywhere below the 3618. It's extremely uncommon. But again, we've gone over reasonable, I think, logical, critically thinking backed scenarios why 14 cents, 13 cents, 15 cents, why that area could find resistance, why we could be met with resistance there. That is a 100x zone for people that invested down in these lows here. And not everybody did. The majority of you invested on these pumps, right? But there were some that did. There will be profit taking that takes place there. Now, will it be a lot of profit taking? Will it be a little bit? Or will there be so much buying pressure that it doesn't matter and we keep going through? I don't know. My theory, if I really had to lean one way or another, I would think we do go above 20 cents. I think that we do see new all-time highs by the end of this move. And I really do. I really, really do. And that's why I'm going to probably talk about 14 to 15 cents all the time now, is because this is what I'm fully expecting. It's my style to sell below what I fully expect, right? I'm probably not going to, I mean, I'll probably let some go between 10 to 14 cents, but I'm going to let more go, or I'll have more sell orders up above 20 cents for sure. But I'm going to take some profits around this area just in case. That's just my style, right? And the reason for that is I'm okay with not catching the absolute high, right? My average price for this thing is basically, it's a little bit lower than this, it's a little bit higher than that. My average price is basically right around there. That's a near 60x. I'm okay with that, right? And instead of a 86x, I know that's or even a 100x possibility, I know that would be really nice. When compared to about a 58x, it doesn't seem that big of a deal. But when you're up here, that growth, it's only a difference of a 45% growth to a 70-80% growth. So overall, it's hundreds of x's, or not hundreds, but tens of x's more, right? But from the relative area itself, actually, it's really not even a 2x above. So I'm okay with selling here, even if it does pump more, because also I'm not going to sell everything. I'm going to have sell orders set up here, and even then I'm not going to sell everything. It could pump up more than that, and I'm going to, that's fine, and that's how it should be with coins like this. But also with coins that are on straight moon missions, you should have a game plan to take profits. If you are the type of person like me who likes to take profits at the end of the cycle. You don't like to play the game. I know I'm talking about playing the game now, but I do plan on keeping some funds in here for the end of the cycle. If you're planning on not playing the game at all, you're like, I don't care, man. Let it go to 20 cents. Let it go to 40 cents. Let it go only to 10 cents. Whatever. It can reject from there. I'm not going to sell. I'm only going to buy more on the rejection. If that's you, cool. There's nothing wrong with that. Not financial advice. Not a financial advisor, but that might be the safest play to make. Everybody tells you to take profits, and that's a smart play. But sometimes the smart play is not the safest play. Every time that you make a decision when you buy or sell, that adds some risk to it inherently. It does. So whenever you take profits here, the risk is you could take profits and it keeps running. And then you're in an emotional state where you might want to FOMO in at the top, and then you're in this horrible situation, right? If you take profits here, right, you're de-risking a little bit on what you hold, but also you're adding risk to the sense of opportunity cost of what the all-time high potential could be, right? So if you want to have the least risk, if you want to be smart, try and time these meticulous moves. That's the smart play. But the smart play is not always the safest play. The safest play would be to just wait for it to rip, see where it goes, wait for it to pull back, add more, and then repeat, right? Every single time throughout the rest of this bull cycle. And then you sell at the end of the year, August, September, October, November, December, somewhere at the end of the year, right? Not financial advice, not a financial advisor. This is just my game plan, right? And what I would do if I'm trying to be as risk averse as possible. So while I was talking about selling throughout this area, I wanted to entice the people also who are not wanting to sell, who might have less experience, who might not feel comfortable with those kind of movements. I just wanted to make that last statement or that last part of this video to tell you that's okay. That's fine. You don't have to. Nobody has to make a move up here. You could totally hold, watch me take profits up here, and then this thing goes to 80 cents, and you're the genius. I'm the dumbass. You know what I mean? That could really happen. It's possible. I will be wrong. I'm wrong. I've been wrong before. I will be wrong again. I've been right. I'll be right again. And oftentimes, it's in me to sell things before we get to the target area that I'm expecting, and buy things before we get to the target area that I'm expecting for support, right? And then I will layer up to this area, right? It's in me to do that because sometimes you don't actually hit that area, but also at the cost of that, the consequence of that, sometimes we exceed those areas, and I will sell way too early, and that happens. But taking profits is a good thing, right? Taking profits is a good thing. Holding and waiting for the end of the cycle is also a good thing, right? But I think taking profits should be always encouraged. I'm sorry I'm talking so much. I'm going to probably end the video there. So hit the like button, subscribe if you want to see more content like this, you guys. I think XCN is about to rip. I really do think it is. I would expect that by the end of this week, we are above 3 cents. All of that is still the same. I would expect by the end of the month, if we're not at new all-time highs, we're certainly above 4 cents, reaching for 5 cents, and then going into March, you know the rest, right? So hit the like button, subscribe. Thank you all for being here. I'll see you on the next one. Take it easy. Bye-bye.